It hath in solemn synods been decreed, both by the Syracusans and ourselves, to admit no traffic to our adverse towns. Nay, more, if any born at Ephesus be seen at any Syracusan marts and fairs, again, if any Syracusan born come to the bay of Ephesus, he dies. His goods confiscate to the Duke dispose, unless 1,000 marks be levied to quit the penalty and to ransom him. Thy substance valued at the highest rate cannot amount unto 100 marks. Therefore, by law, thou art condemned to die.
My comfort is that when your words are done, my woes end likewise with the evening sun.
Well, Syracusans, say in brief the cause why thou departedst thy native home, and for what cause thou camest to Ephesus.
In Syracuse was I born, and when unto a woman happy but for me, and by me had not our hap been bad. With her I lived in joy, our wealth increased. With prosperous voyages I often made to Epidamnum. There had we not been long, and she became the joyful mother of two goody sons, and which was strange, the one so like the other, and could not be distinguished but by name. That very hour, and in the self-same inn, a meaner woman was delivered of such a burden. Male twins, both alike. Those for their parents were exceeding poor, I bought and brought up to attend my son. But wife, not meanly proud of such two boys, made daily motion for our home return. Unwilling I agreed. Alas, too soon we came on board. A league from Epidamnum had we sailed before the always wind-obeying deep gave any tragic instance of our harm. Oh, the winds were such that I was forced. Oh, the sailors made for safety on our ship and left it all sinking right to us. My wife, more careful with the latterboard, had fastened him upon a small steel mast, such as seafaring men provide for storms. To him, one of the other twins was found, while I was likewise helpful for the other. Oh, right here. The children thus disposed, my wife and I, fixing our eyes on whom our care was fixed, fastened ourselves to either end the mast. At last, the sun, gazing upon the earth, dispelled those vapors that offended us, and by the benefit of his reassured light, the seas waxed calm, and we discovered from afar 2 ships making a lane to us from Corinth, from Epidaurus distant. But either ship could come. Oh, let me say no more.
Forward, old man, do not break off so, for we may pity, though not pardon.
Have the gods done such? So had I not worthily deemed them merciless to us. For ere the ship could come by twice 5 leagues, we were encountered by a mighty rock. A mighty rock! Which, bearing violently upon our helpful ship, was split in the middle, such that in this unjust divorce of us, fortune had left to both of us alike what to delight in, what to sorrow for. My wife's poor heart, being lesser burdened in weight, but not in lesser woe, was carried with more speed before the wind, and in her side all 3 were taken up. At last, another ship had seized on us, gave helpful welcome to her shipwrecked guests, and therefore homeward did we bend our course. Thus to see me severed from my bliss.
And for the sake of them now sorrows, do me the favor to dilate at full what hath befallen of them and thee till now.
My youngest born, and then my eldest care. At 18 years became inquisitive after his brother, and importuned me that his attendant, so his case was like, reft a brother, but retained the name, might bear him company in the quest of him, such that in this I was reft of my love, and was bound to find them all. 5 months have I spent in farthest Greece, ranging up to the bounds of Asia, and coasting homeward came to Ephesus, helpless to find, but slow to leave unsought all that or any place that harbors men. But thou must end the story of my life. Happy were I in my timely death. All my travels warrant me, they live.
Hapless Aegean, whom the fates have marked to bear the extremity of dire mishap. Now, trust me, were it not against our laws, against my crown, my oath, my dignity, which princes and others annul, my soul would sue as advocate. Yet I will favor thee in what I can. Therefore, merchant, I limit thee this day to seek thy life by beneficial help. Try all the friends thou hast in beg thou or borrow to make up the sum and live. If no, then thou art doomed to die. Lord.
Hopeless and hapless doth the Aegean wend, but to procrastinate his lifeless end.
This very day, a Syracusan merchant is apprehended for arrival here, and, not being able to buy out his own life, he dies ere the weary sun sets the west. There is your money, son.
Go! Bear it to the centaur where we host, and stay there, Dromio, till I come to thee. Within this hour, it will be dinner time. Get thee away.
Many a man would take you at your word and go indeed, having so good a means.
He's a trusty villain, sir. Then marry up. When I am dull, with care and melancholy, lightens my humor with his merry jests. What? Will you walk with me about the town, and then go to my inn and dine with me?
Oh, I am invited, sir, to certain merchants of whom I hope to make much benefit. I crave your pardon. Soon, at 5 o'clock, please you, I'll meet with you upon the market.
Farewell till then. I will go lose myself and wander up and down the city.
Sir, I commend you to your own content.
He that commends me to mine own content commends me to the very thing I cannot get. Oh, I to the world am like a drop of water that in the ocean seeks another drop, who falling there to find his fellow forth unseen, inquisitive, confounds himself. So up to find a mother and a brother in quest of them, unhappy, lose myself. How chance thou art returned so soon?
Return so soon? Brother approached too late. The capon burns. The pig falls from the spit. The clock has struck its
you jesters, you sit at dinner. Time for my mistress come to you and home.
Come now, Dromio, come! These jests are out of season. Reserve them for a merrier time than this. Where is the gold I gave in charge to thee?
To me, sir. Why, you gave no gold to me.
Come now, sir knave, hast done thy foolishness, and tell me, how hast thou disposed of thy charge?
My charge was but to fetch you from the mart home to your house, the Phoenix, to dinner. My mistress and her sisters stay for you.
In what safe place have you bestowed my money? Or I shall break that merry sconcerbook that stands upon tricks when I am undisposed. Where is the 1,000 marks thou hadst of me?
I have some of your marks upon my pate, some of my mistress's marks upon my shoulders. So not 1,000 marks between you both.
Thy mistress's marks? What mistress, slave, hast thou?
Your worship's wife, my mistress at the Phoenix. She that doth fast till you come home to dinner, and prays that she will hie you home to dinner.
What? Wilt thou flout me in the face, being forbid?
Yeah, what me, you sir? For God's sake, hold your hand. Leave! You will not, I'll take my heels. What?
My life! By some device or other, the villain is overwrought of all my money. Oh, they say that this town is full of cozenage, as nimble jugglers that deceive the eye, dark-working sorcerers that change the mind, soul-killing witches that deform the body, disguised cheaters, prating mountains, and many such like liberties of sin. Well, if it proves so, I will be gone the sooner. On to the centaur, to go seek the slave. I greatly fear my money is not safe.
Then let your will attend on their accord.
This servitude makes you to keep unwed.
Not this, but the troubles of the marriage bed.
But were you wedded, you would bear some sway.
Ere I learn love, I'll practice to obey.
Oh. How if your husband starts some otherwhere?
Till he come home again, I would forbear.
Patience unmoved. No marvel though she pause. They can be meek that have no other cause. A wretched soul, bruised with adversity, we bid be quiet when we hear it cry. But were we burdened with light weight of pain, as much or more would we ourselves complain. So thou, that hast no unkind mate to grieve thee, with urging, helpless patience would relieve me. But if thou live to see light right bereft, this full-baked patience in thee will be left.
Well, I will marry one day, but to try. Oh, here comes your man. Now your husband is mine.
Say, is your tardy master now at hand?
Nay, he's at two hands with me, that my 2 ears could witness.
Say, didst thou speak to him? Knowest thou his mind?
Aye, he told me his mind upon mine ear.
But say, I prithee, is he coming home? It seems he has great care to please his wife.
Why, mistress, sure my master is horn mad.
Horn mad, thou villain!
I mean not chuckle mad. Sure, he's stark mad. When I desired him to come home to dinner, he asked me for 1,000 words to go. "'Tis dinner time," quoth I. "My gold," quoth he. "Your meat doth burn," quoth I. "My gold," quoth he. "Will you come home?" quoth I. "My gold," quoth he. "Where is the 1,000 marks I gave thee, villain?" "The pig," quoth I, "is burned." "My gold," quoth he. "My mistress, sir," quoth I. "Hang up thy mistress! I know not thy mistress! Out on thy mistress!" "Who knew?" quoth my master. "I know," quoth he. "No house, no wife, no mistress."
Go back again, thou slave, and fetch him home.
Go back again and be new beaten home? For God's sake, send some other messenger.
Hence, prating peasant, fetch thy master home.
Am I so round with you as you with me? And like a football, you do spurn me thus? You spurn me hence, you will spurn me hither. If I last in this service, you must case me in leather. You out.
Why, how impatience lureth in your face.
His company must do his minions grace, while I at home starve for a merry look. Hath homely age the alluring beauty took from my poor cheek? Oh, then he hath wasted it. Are my discourses dull, barren my wit? Would voluble and sharp discourse be marred, unkindness blunts it more than marble hard. To their gay vestments his affections fade? That's not my fault. He's master of my state. What ruins are in me that can be found by him not ruined? Oh, then is he the ground of my defeatures? Oh, my decayed fair, a sunny look from him would soon repair. But too unruly dear, he breaks the pale and feeds from home. For I am but his stale.
Self-harming jealousy. Fie! Beat it hence!
Unfeeling fools can with such wrongs dispense. I know his eyes doth homage otherwhere, or else what necessity would be here? Sister, you know he promised me a chain. With that alone he would attain, so he would keep fair quarter with his bed. my beauty cannot please his eye. I'll weep what's left away, and weeping die.
How many fond fools serve mad jealousy?
The gold I gave Dromio is laid up with the centaur, safe, and the heedful slave is wandered forth in care to seek me out, my computation and my host's report. I did not speak with Dromio since I first sent him from the mart. See, here he comes. How now, sir? Oh, is your merry humor altered? Oh, as you love strokes, so jest with me again.
I heard a good one the other day.
You know no centaur. You receive no gold. Your mistress sent to have me home to dinner. My house was at the Phoenix. Was thou mad that thou so madly thou didst answer me?
What answer, sir? Why do you think I such a word?
Oh, even now, even here, not half an hour since.
I did not see you since you sent me hence, home to the centaur with the gold you gave me.
Villain, thou didst deny the gold receipt, and told me of a mistress, and a dinner, for which I hope thou felt I was displeased.
I am glad to see you in this merry vein. What means this jest? I pray you, master, tell me.
Yea, dost thou cheer and flout me in the teeth? Thinkst thou I jest? Oh,
Okay.
take thou that
Down! Oh!
and that.
No! Hold! Oh, for God's sake, now your jest is earnest! Upon what bargains you give it me!
Oh, dost thou not know?
Nothing, sir, but that I am beaten.
Shall I tell you why?
Why, sir, and wherefore? For they say every why hath a wherefore.
Why first, for flouting me, and then wherefore, for urging it a second time unto me.
Was there ever any man thus beaten out of season, when in the why and the wherefore is neither rhyme nor reason? Well, sir, I thank you.
Thank me, sir, for what?
Oh, marry, sir, for this something you gave me for nothing.
Oh, I will make you a man's neck to give you nothing for something. Oh, but say, sir, is it dinner time yet?
Sir, I think the meat wants that I have.
Oh, in good time, what's that?
Tasting?
Well, sir, 'twill be dry.
If it be, sir, I pray you eat none of it.
Oh, your reason.
Lest it make you choleric and purchase me another dry basting.
Well, sir, learn a jest in good time, huh? Huh? Ah, there's a time for all things.
I durst have denied that before you were so
Oh,
choleric.
by what rule, sir?
Marry, sir, by a rule as plain as the plain bald paint of Father Time himself.
Ah, let's hear it.
There is no time for a man to recover his hair that grows bald by nature.
May he not do it by fine and recovery?
Yes, to pay periwig and recover the lost hair of another man.
Why is time such a niggard of hair, being as it is so plentiful in excrement?
Because it is a blessing that he bestows on beasts, and what he hath scanted men in hair, he hath given them in wit.
Why, but there's many a man hath more hair than wit.
Not a man of those, but he hath the wit to lose his hair.
Why, thou didst conclude, Harrigan, plain dealer, without wit.
The plainer dealer, the sooner lost. Yet he loseth into the kind of jollity
Oh, by what reason?
by two, and sound ones too.
Nay, not sound, I pray.
Sure ones then.
Ye not sure in a thing, all things.
Certain ones then.
Nay,
The one for the money he saves in trimming, the other that at dinner they should not drop in his porridge.
you would all this time approve. There is no time for all things.
Mary and Dick, sir, namely, there is no time to recover hair lost by nature.
Ah, but your reason was not substantial, and there is no time to recover.
Thus I mend it. Time himself is bald, and therefore to the world's end will have bald followers.
Oh, I knew it would be a bold conclusion. But some too wafts us yonder. Aye, Antipholus! Look strange and frown. Some other mistress hath thy sweet aspect. I am not Adriana, nor thy wife. How comes it now, my husband? Oh, how comes it that thou art thus estranged from thyself? Oh, do not tear thyself away from me. For know, my love, as easy mayest thou fall a drop of water in the breaking gulf, and take unmingled that same drop again, without addition or diminishing, as take from me thyself, and not me too. Oh, how dearly would it touch me to the quick, shouldst thou but hear I were licentious, and this body consecrate to thee by ruffian lust. Whoa, damn it! Which thou hast spit at me, and spurned at me, and hurled the name of husband in my face, and tear the stained skin from my harlot vow, and from my false hand cut the wedding ring, and break it with a deep divorcing vow. I know thou canst, and therefore see thou do it. I am possessed with an adulterous lot. My blood is mingled with the crime of lust. For if we two be one, and thou playest false, I do digest the poison of thy flesh, being strummeted by thy contagion. Keep then fair league and truce with thy true bed. I live unstained, thou undishonored. Lead you to me, fair dame? I know you not. And I'm but 2 hours old, and as strange to your town as to your tongue.
Oh, fie, brother, how the world has changed with you. When were you so wont to use my sister thus? She sent for you by Dromio home to dinner.
By Dromio?
By me?
By me! And this thou didst return from him, that he did buffet thee, and did deny his house for mine, me for his wife. Did you, sir, converse with this gentlewoman? What is the course and strength of your conduct?
Aye, sir, I never saw her till this time.
Oh, villain, thou liest, or even her very words thou didst deliver to me on the mark.
I never spake with her in all my life.
How can she then thus call us by our names, unless it be by inspiration? How ill agrees it with your gravity to counterfeit thus grossly with your slave, abetting him to thwart me in my mood. I will fling off the tree in the vine. Thou art bound, my husband, I a vine. In aught possess me from me, it is dross, you usurping ivy, briar, or idle moss, who, all for want of pruning with intrusion, infect thy sap and live on thy confusion. To me she speaks. She moves me for her theme. What? Was I married to her in my dream? Oh, or sleep I now and think I hear all this. Oh, what errors drive our eyes and ears amiss? Oh! Until I know the sure uncertainty, I'll entertain the awkward fallacy.
Romeo, does the servant spread for dinner?
Oh, for my beads! I crossed before a sinner! This is the fairyland! Oh, spikes, spikes! We talk of goblins, owls, and sprites! If we obey them not, this will ensue! They'll suck our breath or pinches black and blue!
Why credit to thyself and answer not? Romeo, thou drowned, thou snail, thou slug, thou sod!
Oh, I am transformed in master, am I not?
Thou hast thine own form!
Oh, I am an ape. If thou art changed to aught, 'tis to an ass.
'Tis true! She rides me and I long for grass! 'Tis so! I am an ass! Else it could never be, but I should know her as well as she knows me! Come, come! No longer will I be a fool to put the finger in the eye and weep while man and master laugh my woes to scorn. Come, sir, to dinner. Dromio, keep the gate. Husband, I'll dine above with you today and shrive you of 1,000 idle pranks. Sarah, if any call you for your master, say he dines out, and let no creature enter. Well, sister, Romeo, play the porter well.
That's not my job description.
Am I on earth? Or in heaven? Or hell? Sleeping, waking, mad, or well advised? No, none to these, but to myself disguised. I'll say as they say, and persevere so, and in this mist, at all adventures, go!
Master, shall I be porter at the gate?
Aye, and let none enter lest I break your pace.
Come, come, Antibulus, we dine too late.
Say what you will, sir, but I know what I know. You beat me at the bar. I have your hand to show.
I think thou art an ass.
Oh, Mary, so is double here by the wrongs I suffer and the blows I bear.
welcome here.
I'll hold your dainty's cheek, sir, and you're welcome, dear.
Oh, Senor Balthazar! Either it's flesh or fish, a table full of welcome makes scarce one dainty dish.
Good news, sir, is common, that every churl affords.
And welcome more common, for that's nothing but words.
Small cheer and great welcome makes a merry feast.
And to a niggardly host and more sparing guest. But though my case be mean, take them in good part. Better cheer may you have, but not with better heart, eh? But soft, our door is locked. Go, bid them let us in. Bang! Bang! Bang!
Bang! Bridget! Bang! Cecil! Jillian! Jen! Mom! Malthorse! Capon! Coxcomb! Idiot Patch! Either get thee from the door or sit down at the hatch. Dost thou conjure for wenches that thou call'st for such store when one is one too many? Go, get thee from the door. What patches made our porter? My master stays in the street. Let him walk from whence he came, lest he catch cold on speed.
Oh, who talks within there? Ho, open the door.
Right, sir, I'll tell you when, and you tell me wherefore.
Wherefore? For my dinner, I have not dined today.
Nor today here you must not. Come again when you may.
What art thou that keepest me out from the house I owe?
A porter for this time, sir, and my name is Dromio.
Oh, villain! Oh, thou hast stolen both mine office and my name. The one there got me credit, the other mickle blame. Huh. Thou hast been Dromio today in my place. Thou wouldst change thy face for a knave, or thy name for an ass.
What a coil is there, Dromio? Who are those at the gate?
Let my master in.
Nay, no, he comes too late, and so tell your master.
Oh, Lord, I must laugh. Come at you with a proverb, shall I? Bet in my staff.
How that you with another, that... When, can you tell?
If thy name be called Luce, thou hast answered him well.
Do you hear, you minion? You'll let us in, I hope.
I thought to have asked you.
And you said no.
So come and help, well struck there with close for more.
Thou baggage, let me in.
Can you tell for whose sake?
Master, knock the door hard.
Bang! Bang! Bang!
Let him knock till it aches.
Oh! You'll cry for this, minion, if I beat the door down.
What needs all that in a pair of stocks in the town?
What is he at the gate that makes all this noise?
By my troth, your town is troubled with unruly boys.
Are you there, wife? You might have come before.
Your wife, Sir Knave? Go get you from the door.
If you hadn't paid, master, this knave would go sore.
Here with neither cheers or no welcome. We would fain have either. In debating which is best, we shall part with neither.
They stand there at the door. Bid them welcome hither.
There is something in the wind that we cannot get in.
You would say so, master, if your garments were thin. Your cape there is warm within. You would stand out in the cold. It would make a man mad as a buck to be so bought and sold.
Go, fetch me something. I'll break open the gate.
Hey, break any breaking here, and I'll break your name's paint.
Whoa, go get me gone. Fetch me an iron crow. Yeah.
Oh, have patience, sir.
Let it not be so.
Herein you war against your reputation and wrong when it becomes a suspect the unviolated honor of your wife. Now, once this, your long experience of her wisdom, her sober virtue, years and modesty, fleet on her parts and brought to you unknown. And doubt not, sir, but she will well this time is only made against you. Behold by me, not really. Depart in patience, and let us to the tiger all to dinner.
Oh, yeah, the tiger.
And about evening, you come yourself alone to learn the cause of the strange string. If by strong hand you offer to break in now and the stirring passage of the day, a vulgar comment will be made of it. And that's caused by the common route against your yet uncalled estimation that may with foul intrusion at an inn and dwell upon your gravy you a dead. The slander lives upon succession, forever housed where it gets possession.
I have prevailed. I will depart in quiet and in spite of mirth, mean to be merry. I know a wench, excellent discourse, pretty and witty, wild and yet too gentle. There will we dine. This woman that I mean, my wife, though I protest without desert, has oftentimes upbraided me with all. To her will we to dinner, eh? Oh. Eh. Get you home and fetch the chain. By this I know this maid. Bring it, I pray you, to Porpentine. There's the house. That chain will I bestow, be it for nothing but to spite my wife upon mine hostess there. Get you home. Mine own doors refuse to entertain me. I'll knock elsewhere and see if they'll disdain me.
Yeah. I'll meet you at that place some hour hence.
Do so. This jest shall cost me some expense.
Are you a god? Would you create me new? Transform me then, and to your power I'll yield. But if that I am I, then well I know your weeping sister is no wife of mine, and to her bed no homage do I owe. Far more to you I do decline.
Huh?
Oh, train me not, sweet mermaid, with thy note to drown me in thy sister's flood of tears. Oh, sing, siren, for thyself, and I will dote.
What? Are you mad that you do reason so?
Not mad,
Oh!
mated,
Oh!
and how I do not know.
It is a fault that springeth from your eye.
For gazing at your being fair, sun being balm.
Oh, gaze where you should, and that will clear your sight.
As good to wink sweet love as look on night.
Oh, Why call you me, love? Call my sister so.
Your sister's sister.
That's my sister.
No. It is myself. Mine own self. Better part. Mine eyes, clear eyes. My dear heart's dearer heart. Oh, my food. My fortune. And my sweet hope's aim. My solar's heaven. Oh, and my heaven's clay.
Oh, all this my sister is or else should be.
Well, call thyself, sister sweet, for I am thee. Thee I will love, and with thee lead my life. Thou hast no husband yet, nor I, no wife. Give me thy hand.
Oh, soft air. Oh, hold you still. I'll fetch my sister to go get her goodwill.
Thou art Romeo, thou art my man, thou art thyself.
No! I am an ass! I am a woman's man, and besides myself!
Whoa, what woman's man? How besides thyself, besides thyself?
Marry, sir, besides myself! I am due to a woman, one that claims me, one that haunts me, one that will have me!
What is she?
Oh, a very reverend body, sir. I, such a one as a man may not speak of without he say, sir, reverend! I have but lean luck in the match, and yet is she a wondrous fat marriage.
How dost thou mean of that marriage?
Oh, marry, sir, she is the kitchen wench, and all grease, and I know not what used to put her to, but to make a lamp of her and run from her by her own light. I warrant, oh, her rags of a tallow in that will burn a hole in winter. If she lives till doomsday, she'll burn a week longer than the whole world.
What complexion is she of?
Swart, like my shoe, but her face, nothing half so clean kept. For why? She sweats! A man may go over shoes in the grime of it.
Ah, that's a full water woman.
No, sir, 'tis ingrained. No one's blood could not do it.
What's her name?
Oh, Nell, sir, but her name and 3/4, that's an L, and 3/4 will not measure her from hip to hip.
Then she bears some breadth.
No longer from head to foot, than from hip to hip. She is spherical. Like a globe.
I can find out countries in her. Oh, and what part of her body stands Ireland?
Mary, sir. In her buttocks. I found it out by the balls.
Where England?
I looked for the choking clips, but I could find no one is in them.
Where Spain?
There. I sought not, but I found it hot in her breath.
Where America? The Indies?
Oh, sir, upon her nose all over embellished with rubies, carbuncles, sapphires, declining their rich aspect to the hog breath of a Spain, who sent whole lot of bottles of caracks to be banished at her nose. Ha-ha!
Where stood Belgium? The Netherlands?
Oh, sir, I did not look so low. To conclude, this drudge, or diviner, laid claim to me, called me Romeo, swore I was assured to her, told me what privy marks I had about me, as the mark on my shoulder, the mole on my neck, the great wart on my left arm. But I, amazed, ran from her as a witch, and I think if my breast had not been made of faith and my heart of steel, she had transformed me to a curled dog and made me turn the wheel.
Oh, go hide thee presently, post to the road, and if any wind blow any way from shore, I will not harbor in this town tonight. If any bark be put forth, come to the mark, where I will walk till thou return to me. If everyone know us, and we know none? Oh, 'tis time, I think, to trudge, pack, and be gone.
Oh, as from a bear a man would run for life, so fly I from her that would be my wife. Romeo!
There's none but witches do inhabit here. Therefore, 'tis high time I were hence. She that doth call me husband, even my soul for a wife doth abhor. But her fair sister, oh, possessed of such a gentle sovereign grace, of such a chanting presence and discourse, hath almost made me traitor to myself. But lest I be guilty to self-wrong, I'll stop mine ear against the mermaid's song.
Hey, Master Antipholus!
Hey. Oh, I know it well, sir. Hey, so here is the chain. I thought to have taken you at the Porpentine. The chain unfinished made me stay so long, huh?
Oh, what is your will I should do with this?
What? Please yourself, sir. I made it for you.
Made it for me, sir. I spoke it not.
Not once nor twice, but 20 times, yeah. Hey, go home with it. And please your wife withal, huh? And soon at supper time I'll visit you, and then receive my money for the chain.
I pray you, sir, receive the money now, lest you never see chain or money more.
You're a merry man, sir. Fare you well.
What did you think of this? I cannot tell. But this I think, there is no man is so vain that would refuse so fair an offered chain. Oh, I see a man here needs not live by ship, when in the street meets such golden gift. On to the mark, and then for Dromio stays, if any ship put forth, then straight away.
Hey. Even just the sum that I owe to you, it's growing to me by Antipholus, huh? And in the instant that I met with you, he had of me a chain. At 5 o'clock, I shall receive my money for the same. Hey, please, sis, you walk with me down to his house. I will discharge my bond and thank you too.
That labor may you save. See, where he comes.
Will I go to the goldsmith's house? Go thou and buy a rope's end, eh? That will I bestow among my wife and her confederates for locking me out of my doors by day. So, stop, let's see the goldsmith. Get thee gone, buy thou a rope and bring it home to me.
I buy 1,000 pound a year. I buy a rope.
Oh, hey! Man as well hold up the trust to you. I promised your presence of the chain, but neither chain nor goldsmith came to me.
Saving your merry humor.
Scared to know how much your chain weighs to the utmost carat, the finest gold in chargeable fashion, which amounts to 3 odd ducats more than I stand debt to the gentleman. I pray you, see him presently discharged, for he's bound to see but stays before it. I am not furnished with the present money. Besides, I have no business in the town. Good senor, take the stranger to my house, and with you take the chain. Bid my wife disperse the sum on the receipt thereof. Perchance I will be there as soon as you. Then you'll bring the chain to her yourself. No, bear it with you, lest I come not time enough. Well, sir, I will have you the chain about you.
chain. Both wind and tide stays for this gentleman, and I to blame have kept him here too long. Too long.
Good Lord. You used the stallions to excuse your breach of promise for the porpentine. I should have chid you for not bringing it, but like a shrew, you first began to brawl.
The hour is on. I pray you search these facts.
You hear how he importunes me, the chain.
Why, give it to my wife and fetch your money.
Come, come. You know I gave it to you even now. Either send me the chain or send me by some other token.
Fine, now you run this humor out of breath. Where's the chain? I pray you let me see it.
My business cannot prove this stallion. Good sir, say whether your answer or no. If not, I will leave him to this officer.
I answer you. What should I answer you?
The money that you owe me for the chain, huh?
I owe you none till I receive the chain.
No, I gave it to you half an hour
You
since.
gave me none. You wronged me much as say so.
You wronged me more stern to denying it. Consider the death upon my prey. I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
Well, officer, estimate my suit.
I do, and charge you in the Duke's name to obey me.
This touches me in reputation. Either consent to pay the sum for me, or I attach you by this officer.
Consent to pay thee that I never had. Arrest me, foolish fellow, if thou darest.
Here is thy fee. Arrest him, officer.
I do arrest you, sir.
Yes.
You hear the suit.
Aha! I do obey thee till I give thee bail. The Sarah you shall buy this scorched spear is all the metal in your shop will answer.
Sir, I will have law and emphasis. To your notorious shame, I doubt it not.
Master, there is a bargain of the damned that stays until her owner comes aboard, and then, sir, she bears away. Our project, sir, I have conveyed aboard, and I have bought the oil, the balsamum, and the aquavitae. The ship is in the trip, the very wind from Sandal land. They stay for naught at all before their owner, master, and yourself.
How now, a madman? What a peevish sheep of the damned and stays for me.
Ship you sent me to hire wattage.
The drunken slave I sent thee for a rope.
You sent me to the bay, sir, for a bark.
I shall debate this matter at your leisure and teach your ears to less feeling more heed.
I listen.
To Adriana, villain, hie thee straight. Give her this key. Tell her the desk that's covered o'er with Turkish tapestry there is a bag of ducats. Let her send it. Tell her I am arrested in the street, and that shall bail me. Hie thee, slave, be gone!
Get out of here.
On, officer. To prison till I come.
Isabel to claim me for her husband. Ooh, she is too big, I hope, for me to compass. Thither I must, although against my will, for servants must to their masters' minds fulfill.
stranger here.
And true he swore, though yet forsworn he were.
Then pleaded I for you.
And what said he?
And love I begged of you. He begged of me.
With what persuasion did he tempt thy love?
With words that in an honest suit might move. First he did praise my beauty, then my speech.
Did speak in fair?
Have patience, I beseech.
I cannot, I will not hold me still. Oh, my heart, though not my tongue, shall have his will. He is deformed. Old and sere, ill-faced, worse-bodied, shapeless, everywhere. Vicious, gentle, foolish, blunt, unkind, stigmatical in making, worse in mind.
Well, who would be jealous then of such a one? No evil lost is railed when it's gone.
Oh, but I think him better than I say, and yet would hear in other eyes were worse. Far from her nest the lapwing cries away. My heart bleeds for him, though my tongue deters. Here, go! The desk, the purse, sweet, now make haste!
How hast thou lost thy breath?
By running fast.
Where is thy master, Dromio? Is he well? No, he's in Tartar limbo, worse than hell. A devil in an everlasting garment hath him. Why, man, what is the matter? I do not know the matter. He is arrested on the case. What? Is he arrested? Tell me whose suit. I know not at whose suit he is arrested. Well, but he's in a suit of buff which rests in him. That I can tell. Will you send him mistress redemption the money and his death? Go fetch it, sister. This I wonder at. That he unknown to me should be in debt? Well, tell me, was he arrested on a band? Oh, not on a band, but on a stronger thing. A chain, a chain! Do you not hear it ring? What, the chain? No, no, the bell. 'Tis time that I were gone. It was 2 ere I left him, and now the clock strikes 1. The hours come back? What did I never hear? Oh, yes. If any hour meets a sergeant, it turns back for very fear. Oh, as if time were in debt. Fondly dost thou reason. Time is a very bankrupt and owes more than he's worth to seize it. Nay! Have you not heard men say that time comes stealing on by night and day? If time be in debt and theft and a sergeant on the way, have they not reason to turn back an hour in a day? Oh! Go, Dromio! There's the money! Walk, bear it, strike, and bring thy master home immediately! What's in his breast? Oh! I am pressed down with conceit. Conceit, my comfort, and my injury. Some tender money to me, some invite me. Even now, a tailor called me in his shop and showed me silks he had bought for me. And therewithal took measure of my body. Oh, sure, but these are imaginary wiles, and Lapland sorcerers inhabit here.
Master! Here's the prison. He that goes to the Caspian that was killed for the prodigal. He that came behind you, sir, like an evil angel, and bid you forsake your liberty.
I understand thee not. No? Well, sir, there rest in your foolery. Is there any ship put forth tonight? May we be gone?
Why, sir, I sent you word an hour since that the bark expedition put forth tonight. And then were you hindered by the sergeant to tarry more the hoy delay? Here are the angels that you sent me for to deliver you.
This fellow is distract, and so am I. And here we wander in illusions. Some blessed power, deliver us from hence.
Well met, Master Antipholus. I see, sir, you've met the goldsmith now. Is that the chain you promised me today?
Satan, avoid! I charge thee, tempt me not.
Master, is this Mistress Satan?
Oh, it is the devil.
Oh, nay, she is worse. She is the devil's dam. It is written, they appear to men like angels of light. Light is an effect of fire, and fire will burn, ergo light wenches, nuts will burn.
Come not near her!
You're a man and you are marvelous, merry sir. Will you go with me? We'll mend our dinner here.
Oh, avoid then, feed! What tells thou me of supping? Thou art, as you all are, a sorceress. I conjure thee to leave me and be gone!
Give me the ring of mine you had at dinner, or for my diamond and chain you promised me, and I'll be gone, sir, and not trouble you. I pray you, sir, that my ring or else the chain. I hope you do not mean to cheat me so.
Oh, avoid then, feed! Come now, Dromio, let us go! Whoa. Yeah. A little faster. Come on, put your back in. No. Hold up. You got it. Here. You got it. Romeo, engage thy core! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Now out of doubt Antipholus is mad, else he would never so demean himself. A ringing half of mine worth 40 ducats, and for the same he promised me a chain. But one another he denies me now. Belike his wife on purpose shut the doors against his way. My way now is to hie home to his house and tell his wife that being lunatic, he rushed into my house and took perforce my ring away. This course I fittest choose. The 40 ducats is too much to lose.
money?
Why, sir, I gave the money for the rope.
500 ducats, villain, for a rope.
I'll serve you, sir, 500 at the rate.
To what end did I bid thee hie thee home?
To a rope's end, sir. And to that end I am returned.
And to that end, sir, I will welcome you.
Good sir, be patient. Yeah, hey, this for me to be patient.
DJ, feed him! Respect your end, or rather the prophecy like the parrot. Beware the rope's end.
Well, thou still talk.
I'll say it now, is not your husband mad?
His incivility commands no less. Good Dr. Pinch! You are a conjurer. Establish him in his true sense again, and I will please you what you will demand.
Alas, how fiery and how sharp he looks! Oh, mark how he trembles in his ecstasy!
Give me your hand, and let me feel your pulse.
There is my hand, and let it feel your ear.
I charge thee, Satan, housed within this man, to yield to all my holy prayers. And I seek a door hide thee straight. I conjure thee by all the powers of heaven.
Oh, peace, doting wizard, peace. I am not mad.
Oh, that thou wert not a poor distressed soul.
Oh, you, minion, you. Are these your customers? Did this companion with a saffron face revel and feasted at my house today, whilst upon me the guilty doors were shut and I denied to enter in my house?
Oh, husband, God doth know you dined at home, where you had remained until this time, free from these slanders and this open shame.
Dined at home. Now, villain, what sayest thou?
Sir, sooth to say, you did not dine at home.
Were not my doors locked up and I shut out?
Bertie, your doors were locked and you shut out.
And did not she herself revile me there?
Sans fable, she herself reviled you there.
I did
Did not her kitchen maid rail, taunt, and scorn me?
Certes she did. The kitchen vestal scorned you.
And did not I, enraged, depart from thence?
In verity you did. My bones bear witness. That has since felt the vigor of his rage.
It's good to soothe him in these contraries.
'Tis no shame. The fellow feels his pain, and yielding to him, humors well his frenzy.
Thou hast suborned the goldsmith to arrest me.
Alas, I sent you money to redeem you by Romeo there, who came in haste for it.
Money by me? Oh, heart and goodwill you might, but surely, master, not a rag of money.
Whence not thou to her for a purse of ducats?
He came to me and I delivered it.
And I am witness with her that she did. Oh, God and the rope maker bear me witness that I was sent for nothing but a rope.
Mistress, both man and master are possessed.
Oh,
I see it by their pale and deadly faces. They must be bound and laid in some dark room. Bound.
Wherefore didst thou not be forth today? And why dost thou deny the bag of gold?
I did not, gentle husband, love thee more.
And gentle master, I received no gold. But I confess, sir, that we were locked out.
Dissembling villain, thou speakest false and bold.
Dissembling harlot, thou art false in all, and art confederate with a damned tax-maker
prisoner, and you shall have him.
Go bind him, for he is frantic to...
What wilt thou do, thou peevish officer? Hast thou delight to see a wretched man do outrage and displeasure to himself?
He is my prisoner. If I let him go, oh, the debt he owes will be required of me.
I will discharge thee ere I go from thee. Bear me forthwith into his creditor, and see how the debt grows. I will pay it. Oh, good master doctor, see him safe conveyed home to my house. Oh, most unhappy day!
Oh, most unhappy strumpet!
You're entering
Get on thee, villain! Wherefore dost thou mad me?
Will you be bad for nothing? Cry the devil after the end!
God, how poor souls! How idly they do talk!
Go bear the head. Sister, go with me. Stay now. Whose suit is he arrested as?
Angelo, a goldsmith. You know him?
I know the man. What is the sum he owes?
200 ducats.
Say, how grows it due?
Due for a chain your husband had.
Well, he did bespeak a chain for me, but had it not.
When as your husband all enraged they did come to my house and took away my ring, the ring you saw upon his finger now, straight after did I meet him with the chain.
Well, it may be, but I did never see it. Oh, come, jailer, bring me to the goldsmith straight. I long to know the truth hereof at large.
Mercy there, loose again!
They come with naked swords! Let's go for help to have them bound again! They'll kill us I see these witches are afraid of swords.
She that would be your wife now ran from you.
Come to the center. Fetch our stuff from there. Oh, I long that we were safe and sound aboard. I will not stay tonight for all the town. Therefore away to get our stuff aboard.
I'm sorry, sir, that we've hindered you, but I protest he had the chain of me, though he most dishonestly does deny it.
How is this man esteemed here in the city?
Well, very credit reputation, sir, highly beloved, second to none that lives here in the city. May his word, my friend, my wealth at any time.
Speak softly, younger, for as I think, he walks.
Just so, and that silk chain about his neck. Oh, I
Senor Antipolis!
Hey, I wonder much that you put us to this shame and trouble, and not without some scandal to yourself, with circumstance and also to deny. This chain, which you wear so openly, this chain you had of me, hey? Can you deny it?
What I think I had, I never did deny it.
That you did, sire, and forswore it too?
Who heard me to deny it or forswear it?
These ears of mine, thou knowest to hear thee. Fire me, let
Oh, yeah.
It's pity that thou livest where any honest man resort.
I got 20 in the Spaniard.
Thou, a villain, to impeach me thus. I'll prove mine honor and mine honesty against thee presently, if thou darest stand.
Oh, I dare, and I do defy thee for a villain!
to fetch my poor distracted husband hence. Let us come in that we may find him fast and bear him home for his recovery.
I knew he was not in his perfect wit. I am sorry now that I did throw on him.
How long has this possession held the man?
This week he hath been heavy, sour, sad, and much different from the man he was, but till this afternoon his passion ne'er brake in extremity of rage.
Hath he not lost much wealth and revenue? Buried some dear friend? Have not else his eye strayed his affection in unlawful love? A sin prevailing much in youthful men who give their eyes the liberty of gazing. Which of these sorrows is he subject to?
None of these, except it be the last, namely some love that took him off from home.
You should have reprehended him then.
Why, so I did.
Aye, not rough enough.
As roughly as my modesty would let me.
Haply in private.
And in assemblies too.
Aye, but not enough.
It was the copy of our conference. In bed he slept not for my urging it. At board he fed not for my urging it. Alone it was the subject of our theme. In assemblies I often glanced at it. Still did I tell him it was vile and bad.
And thereof came it that the man was mad.
What?
The venom clamors of a jealous woman, poisons more deadly than a mad dog's tooth. It seems his sleep was hindered by thy railing, simple comfort that his head was light. Thou sayest his meat was salt with thy upbraided. Unquiet meals make ill digestion. The raging fire of fever bred, but what is a fever but a fit of madness? The consequences of thy jealous fits have scared thy husband from his use of wits.
She never reprehended him but mildly, when he demeaned himself rough, rude, wildly. Oh, why bear you these rebukes and answer not?
She did betray me to my own reproof. Good people, enter and lay hold on him.
Creature may enter my house.
Oh, then have your servants send my husband forth.
Neither. He took this place for sanctuary, and it shall privilege him from your hands till I have brought him to his wits again, or lose my labor in assaying.
I will attend my husband, be his nurse, die of his sickness, for it is my office and will have no attorney but myself. Therefore, let me have him home with me.
Be quiet. He shall not stir until I have used the approved means I have, wholesome syrup, drugs, and holy prayers to bring him to a formal man again. It is the branch and parcel of my oath, the charitable duty of my order. Therefore, depart and leave him here with me.
I will not hence and leave my husband here. And ill it doth beseem your holiness, right? To separate the husband and the wife. Oh God, she's gonna kill me.
Be quiet and depart. Thou shalt not have him.
By this, I think the dial would suffice. Anon, I am sure, the Duke himself in person comes this way, to the melancholy bed, the place of death and sorry execution, behind the ditches of the abbey here, upon what was, to see the Reverend Siracusian merchant, who put unluckily into this bay, against the laws and statutes of this town, beheaded publicly for use of it. But see where they come, we will behold his death.
Kneel to the Duke before he pass the abbey!
Yet once again proclaim it publicly. If any man will pay the sum for him, he shall not die. So much we tender him.
Justice, most sacred Duke, against the abbess.
She is a virtuous and a reverend lady. It cannot be that she have done thee wrong.
May it please your grace. Antipholus, my husband, who I made lord of me and all I have by your important letter. This day, a most outrageous fit of madness took him. Then desperately he hurried to the streets with him his bondsmen, all as mad as he, doing displeasure to the citizens by rushing in their houses, bearing them rings his rage did life. Once did I get him bound and sent him home whilst to take order for the wrongs I went that here and there his fury had committed. Anon, I wot not by what strong escape, he broke from those that had the guard of him, and with his mad attendant and himself, each one with ireful passion, with drawn swords, met us again, and madly bent on us, chased us away, till finally, by gathering of more aid, we came again to bind them. Then they fled into this abbey, whither we pursued them, and here the abbess shuts the gates on us, and will not suffer us to fetch him out, nor bring him forth that we may bear him hence. Therefore, most gracious Duke, by your command, let him be brought forth and borne hence for hell.
Long since, thy husband served me in my wars, and I to thee engaged a prince's word when thou didst make him master of thy bed, to do him all the grace and good I could. Go, some of you, knock at the abbey gate, and bid the lady abbess come to me. I will determine this before I stir.
Oh, mistress! Shift and save yourself! My master and his men are both broke loose! Oh, beaten the maids around and bound the doctor, whose beard they have singed off with brands of fire. And ever as it blazed, they poured on him great pails of puddled mire to cleanse the hair. Oh, my master preaches patience to him, and the while his man with scissors nicks him like a fool. And sure enough, he sends him present help. Between them they will kill the conjurer.
Peace, peace, fool, thy master and his man are here, and this is false thou dost report to us.
Mistress, upon my life I tell you true.
I mean, it is my husband! Witness you now all he is born about invisible. Well, even now we housed him in the abbey here, and now he's there. Has thought of human reason.
Justice, most gracious Duke. Oh, grant me justice.
Unless the fear of death doth make me dote, I see my son Antipholus, and with him Romeo.
Justice, sweet prince, against that woman there. She whom thou gavest to me to be my wife, that hath abused and dishonored me.
Discover how, and thou shalt find me just.
This day, great Duke, she shut the doors upon me while she, with harlots, feasted in my house.
A grievous fault. Say, woman, didst thou so?
No, good my lord. Myself, he, and my sister today did dine together. So please your grace, as this is false, he burdens me withal.
Ne'er may I look on day nor sleep on night, but she tells your highness simple truth.
Hearken, woman, they're both forsworn. In this the madman justly charges them.
My liege, I advise you what I say. This woman locked me forth this day from dinner. That goldsmith there, when tapped with her, could witness it, for he was with me then, who parted with me to go fetch a chain, promising to bring it to the Porpentine, where Balthazar and I did dine together. Our dinner done, and he not coming thither, I went to seek him. In the street I met him, and in his company, that gentleman then resolved to swear me down that I this day of him received the chain, which God he knows I saw not, for the which he did arrest me with an officer. I sent my bondsman home for certain ducats. He would not return. Then fairly I bespoke the officer to come in person with me to my house. By the way, we met my wife, her sister, and a rabble more of vile confederates. Along with them, they brought one Pinch, a hungry, lean-faced villain, a mere anatomy, a mountebank, a humble, needy, thin-faced wretch, a thread-baler juggler, and a fortune-teller, a dead-looking man. This pernicious slave, forsooth, took on him as a conjurer, and gazing in mine eyes, feeling my pulse, and with no face as twere, outfacing me, cries out, I was possessed, which but altogether they fell upon me, bound me, bore me thence, and in a dark and dankish vault at home, there left me, and my man both bound together, till, gnawing with my teeth, my bonds in sunder, I gained my freedom, and immediately ran hither to your grace, whom I beseech to give me ample satisfaction for these deep shames and great indignities.
My lord, in truth the letter I witnessed with him, that he dined not at home, but was locked out.
But had he such a chain of thee, or no?
Oh, he had, my lord. And when he came in here, these people saw the chain about his neck.
Yeah, was right there. These sights, and with this word, that these ears of mine, you confess that you had the chain of him after you first was roared the Mars, and thereupon I threw my sword on you, and then you fled into the abbey there, from whence I think you accompanied me.
Ha ha! I never came within these abbey walls, nor ever did they draw they sworn upon me. I never saw this chains, no help me heaven. It is a false you burden me withal.
Why, what an intricate impeach is this? I think you all have drunk of Circe's cup. If here you housed him, here he would have been. If he were mad, he would not plead so coldly. You say he dined at home. The goldsmith here denies that saying. Sirrah, what say you?
Sir, he dined with her there at the Porpentine.
He did. And from my finger snatched that ring.
Tis true, my liege. This ring I had of her.
Saw'st thou him enter at the abbey here?
As sure, my liege, as I do see your grace.
Why, this is strange. Go call the abbess hither. I think you are all mated or stark mad.
Oh, most mighty Duke, vouchsafe I speak a word. Haply I see a friend may save my life and pay the sum that will deliver me.
Speak freely, Syracusan, what thou wilt.
Is not your name so called Antipholus? And is that not your bondman Romeo?
Oh, within this hour I was his bondman, sir. But he, I stake him, gnawed my cords in two. Now I am Dromio and his man unbound.
But surely you, both of you, remember me.
To ourselves we do remember, sir, by you. For we were bound as you are now. You are not pinching patient, are you, sir?
Why look you strangely on me? You know me well.
I never saw you in my life till now.
Grief has changed me since you saw me last, and careful hours with time's deformed hand have written strange features on my face. But tell me, dost thou not know my voice?
Neither.
Nor thou, Romeo?
No, trust me, sir, nor I.
Tell me thou art my son, Antipholus.
I never saw my father in my life.
But 7 years since, in Syracuse boys, thou knowest we parted, but perhaps my son, thou shamest to acknowledge me in misery.
The Duke and all that know me in the city can witness with me that it is not so. I ne'er saw Syracuse in my life.
I tell thee, Syracusan, 20 years have I been patron to Antipholus, during which time he ne'er saw Syracusa. I see thy age and dangers make thee dote.
Behold, most mighty Duke, a man much wronged.
I see! 2 husbands! Or my eyes.
One of these men is genius to the other, and so of these. Which is the natural man, and which the spirit? Who deciphers them? I, Sir Andromio, command him away.
Oh,
I, Sir Andromio, pray let me stay.
Aegean, art thou not? Or else his ghost.
Oh, my old master! Well, who hath bound him here?
Whoever bound him, I will loose his bonds and gain a husband in his liberty. Old Aegean, if thou beest the man that had a wife named Amelia, that bore thee at a burden 2 fair sons, oh, if thou beest the same Aegean, speak, and speak to the same Amelia. If I dream not, thou art Amelia. If thou art she, tell me where is the sun that floated with you on that fatal raft? By men of Epidamnum, I, and the twin Dromio were taken up. But by and by, rude fishermen of Corinth by force took Dromio and my son and left me with those of Epidamnum. What became of the 2, I do not know. To this fortune you see me in.
Why, here begins his morning story, right? These 2 Antipholus, these 2 so like, and these 2 Dromios, one in semblance, besides her urging of the wreck at sea. These are the parents to these children which accidentally are met together.
Which of you 2 did dine with me today? I, gentle mistress. And are not you my husband?
No, it's they did that.
Oh, that's you. And so do I. Yet did she call me so? And this fair gentlewoman, her sister here, did call me brother.
That is the chain you had of me.
Oh, I think of me, sir. I deny it not.
And you, sir, for that chain arrested me.
I think I did, sir. I deny it not.
I sent you money to be your bail by Dromio, but I think he brought it not.
No, not by me.
This purse of ducats I did receive from you, and my man Dromio did bring them me. I see we still didn't meet each other's man, and I was paid for him, and he for me, and thereupon these errors are arose.
Exactly. These ducats pawn I for my father here.
It shall not need, thy father hath his life.
Sir, I must have that diamond from you.
There. Take it. Much thanks for my good cheer, huh? Renowned Duke, vouchsafe to take pains and go with us into the abbey here, and here at large discourse all our fortunes. And all those assembled in this place that by this sympathized one day's error have suffered most, go, keep us company, and we shall make full satisfaction. 33 years I have gone in travail of you, my sons, and until this present time, my heavy burden ne'er delivered. My Duke, my husband, and my children both, and you, the calendars of their nativity, go to a gossip's feast, and go with me. After so long brief, such festivity.
With all my heart, I'll gossip at this feast.
She now shall be my sister, not my wife.
Thanks, you are my glass and not my brother. Oh, I see by you I am a sweet-faced youth, huh? True. Will you walk in here gossiping?
Not I, sir. You are my elder.
Oh, that's a question. How shall we try it?
We'll draw cuts for the senior. Till then, lead thou first.
Ah, nay, then thus. We came into the world